And we're on the campaign trail talking now with Jon Bruning, who is the current Nebraska Attorney General, but one of those Republicans vying to be the next governor of Nebraska. And we're just a few days out now, Jon. Let's talk about how the campaign's going.
Well, it feels great. We just had a debate, and the debate went very, very well. I like all my opponents. They're good guys. This is like Friday night football. You get out and you try your hardest, and then you know, at the end, one of us is going to win, and everybody will gather around the winner.
Well, we'll talk about maybe what makes you unique and how you've kind of set yourself apart from the other candidates in just a moment. But there's a number of issues we need to get to, and you know, over the years, you and I have talked about a lot of these same issues. But now this is for real. This is to be the CEO of the state of Nebraska. Let's talk about agriculture. You know, that is the driver of the economy. And one of the things is there's a white paper that came out from UNL just a few weeks ago now that talked about the importance and how we can grow the economy through the use of animal agriculture and growing that. Is that something that you've had a chance to read and talk about maybe how you subscribe to the ag economy here in Nebraska?
Well, agriculture is the driving force behind Nebraska's economy, and my family's been in agriculture for more than 100 years. We still own our home place down at Bruning. We got it in 1879, so that's 5 generations there. My wife's a farm girl from Shelton. Agriculture is very, very important to me, and it's something I'll focus on as governor. But I think really that one of the issues we have in agriculture right now, we've had good row crop prices, we have good things going in animal agriculture. Property taxes are too high. And what you've seen over the last 2 or 3 years, you've seen producers and prices of ground go up 20, 30, 40% in just recent years. And the problem is levies have not dropped. So every one of those landowners is now paying 20, 30, 40% more than they paid 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. And that is a problem. We cannot continue on that trend. We have to figure out how to cut property taxes. But that's not the only problem. We have inheritance taxes that are high in the state that drive people out. We have taxes on retirement income like Social Security. We made a little dent in that this year, but not enough. We have a tax structure that needs to be modified, or we're going to be running people out of this state, exactly what we don't want to do.
Let's talk about that. The governor just a few days ago now came out and is really encouraging veterans to move to Nebraska. But when you look at the tax structure, I mean, honestly, there are some issues and some concerns, and maybe the unicameral didn't get it all tackled. Now you will be working with a bunch of new senators come January. But as governor, how could you show leadership and really get this tax structure under control?
Well, I have the experience. I've been a legislator. I was a legislator back in the 90s. I've been Attorney General now for so long that most people don't remember when I was a legislator. But I know what it's like to be one, and I realize that you need to talk to those people about ideas. They're very smart. They want to be a part of the conversation, and when I'm governor, they will be part of the conversation. But reducing taxes is counterintuitive to a lot of people because they think if you reduce taxes, you'll bring in less revenue. Well, that's true for about a year or two, and then all of a sudden, when taxes are low, businesses are going to grow, people are going to stay here, less people run off to Arizona, and all of a sudden you'll have a rising tide lifts all boats reaction. You know, if you look back at President Kennedy or President Reagan, they both reduced tax rates. And what happened were periods of prosperity in the 60s and in the 80s that this country's never seen. So there is a way, if we reduce taxes, to watch our revenue go up. It'll happen.
One of the other issues that Governor Heineman has been very passionate about is HSUS and extreme groups like that, trying to keep them out of the state. How will you handle groups like that if they try to come into Nebraska?
Well, this is a place where Nebraskans know that I have the experience. I have been tested. I've been right alongside Governor Heineman in fighting HSUS. My office, through a settlement with a bad actor, pushed $100,000 to We Support Agriculture. I'm proud of that. I took some flack for it, and that's okay because I'm going to stand up for agriculture. We Support Agriculture was designed to fight back against HSUS and their attempts to end livestock agriculture in Nebraska. And just recently, the governor, Ian Carney, announced a lawsuit against the state of California, which has an HSUS agenda to, again, end livestock agriculture. I understand livestock agriculture is an enormous part of our economy. If livestock agriculture is strong, if agriculture in general is strong, our state's economy is going to be strong. So we have to protect that at any cost. And as governor, I assure you I will defend this state and our ag producers against HSUS.
And also in the last couple of days, you also joined a suit, in a sense, to protect or to help Nebraska ethanol producers.
Yeah, it's no secret. I'm a big fan of ethanol. I got my truck parked outside. It's a flex fuel vehicle. I only put ethanol blends in there, E85, when I can use it. As governor, I will be an enormous supporter of ethanol, as I have been as attorney general and a state senator. I just think, we were talking about the home team here. I mean, this is Nebraska. Drive around. There's corn everywhere, and corn-based ethanol can change the world. Not only is it cleaner, not only is it efficient, it reduces our dependence on foreign oil. And who wants to send money to these Arab sheiks that are using the money to buy bullets to shoot at our kids? I don't want to do it. I don't know why any Nebraskan would. I'd rather send my money to those farmers that I know and love that are working hard to feed the world.
Another huge issue is water, and we've asked all the candidates this and trying to get, I guess, to see really what that answer is. When we look at it, we know what's going on in the southwestern part of the state, and with some of the occupation taxes and some of those, and some of the farmers not being able to get any water. Is there a feasible plan? Is there a plan that can be put into place to make water equitable and fair, not only for our production agriculture folks, those with the NRDs and the irrigation districts, but also to make sure there's ample water for Omaha, Lincoln, and the metropolitan areas?
Well, this is always going to be a challenge. I mean, the old adage, whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting about, is true. It's very difficult. Now, for 12 years as Attorney General, I think farmers and ranchers across this state have seen me make water and agriculture a priority. I created an Ag and Natural Resources Unit. I have lawyers in the office do nothing but work on water cases. So we've been very focused on it. And I think we've come to a good result. Producers down in the Republican River Basin will recognize that this state is paying a lot of the share of what's happened in the Republican River. For example, the $5 million we ended up paying Kansas, paid by the state of Nebraska, not paid by the users in the basin. And there were a lot of Omaha senators who might have said, why would the state pay this? Let's just stick it on the basin. I'm one of those guys that thinks it's a state responsibility. I'm standing up for producers in the Republican River Basin and water users all across the state. And I got to tip my hat to Tom Carlson over in the legislature. He did a great thing this year. It's a very important piece of legislation. You got to give credit where credit's due. He's one of my opponents, but I like him and think he's a good man, and I think the legislation that he passed is going to help by bringing more stakeholders to the table. Very important to have that conversation and make sure you get the right mix of people, because the discussion can get very skewed if you just have certain interests there, not all the interests. So I applaud Senator Carlson for that.
Let's talk about education, and I think if you go west of Lincoln, people have a different view of how education is in the state, and especially the funding. When we look at the school funding formula, the legislature really didn't want to tackle it. There'll be maybe some new fresh ideas come January, but a lot of folks in the rural districts say, why is all that money going to the Omaha and Lincoln school districts, and we're struggling out here to try to give a quality education? Can we come up with an equitable and fair plan to give every Nebraska student a quality education?
Well, it's always a challenge, and I think consolidation can only go so far. We've seen so much consolidation, but at a certain point it becomes counterproductive when a kid's driving 50 miles one way to school. So we got to be careful with more consolidation. I'm proud of our schools. I'm the only candidate in this race that's endorsed by the teachers, and I'm proud of that. Every candidate talked to them. And they pick me because they know I have a plan to make education better. And part of that plan is to make sure that parents understand they're the first line of defense. Education has to start with the parents. We have wonderful teachers and wonderful public schools. I'm going to do everything I can to protect those public schools across the state, protect those rural schools across the state. A good part of that is roads. It's not just the concrete highway, it's the digital highway. Schools have to have all those things to be successful. I understand rural schools. I'm married to a girl who went to a very, very small school, and I can assure you she's plenty smart, smarter than me by a long ways. We need to make sure we keep those rural schools strong, and I'll do that.
What's your opinion of Common Core?
I think Common Core is bad news. I don't want to see the federal government involved in telling us how to educate our kids. And frankly, I'm the one candidate in this race who has the experience and has been tested pushing back against the federal government. So I'm the guy that's challenged the Obama administration, again and again, 39 times when it comes to EPA or the Obamacare lawsuit. I led that. When it comes to pushing back against educational problems like Common Core, we don't need the federal government telling us how to do it.
There are a number of candidates in the race for governor. By the way, we're talking with Jon Bruning, Nebraska Attorney General, and many are saying the same thing. Conservative, want to focus on water, pro-ag. Everybody's kind of saying the same thing. So the people out there that are watching this video want to know what makes each candidate unique. And so we've given everybody the opportunity. So why should they vote for you? Why should they support you? What makes you different than the other candidates that want to be the Republican nominee for governor?
Well, in one word, it's experience. So these are all good men that are running. I like and care about all of them, and they've all done important things in their lives. But in the end, if you're going to hire a football coach, you want them to have a little experience coaching football. If you're going to hire a governor, you want them to have some experience governing. I have experience with the legislature. I know how to work with them. I was a legislator for 6 years, and I have experience in the executive branch. I've been Attorney General now for 12 years, working right alongside Governor Heineman and Governor Johans. And Nebraskans are rightly proud of how this state is run. They're proud of balanced budgets. They're proud of common sense. As governor, I will continue those balanced budgets. I will continue that common sense. And the other side of it is I have experience pushing back against the federal government. Every candidate says, I'm going to push back against the federal government. I'm going to tell that Obama administration to stay out. I've done it. I'm tested and I'm proven and I'm ready to go on day one. I won't need on-the-job training.
Jon Bruning, who's the Nebraska Attorney General and a candidate for governor of the state of Nebraska. You can find out more on all the candidates at agview.net. We're in Lincoln. I'm Ken Rahjes for AgView.